Southern California, good evening and welcome to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Today we have ourselves quite a show as we have a lot to get into in the world of Southern California sports, such as LAFC looking a little like their dominant selves as they took down St. Louis in their most recent match. Is LAFC on the right track, or is this just some sort of mirage? Also, the LA Galaxy are fit to be tied, no pun intended, as their last two matches have resulted in ties. Can the Galaxy get back on track as they fall into 5th in the Western Conference? Also, the Dodgers are still looking pretty good, even though they just recently lost to the San Francisco Giants. But at least they took the series against those guys. And the Angels are still looking like the Angels as we get one of the worst quotes we have heard from their skipper. And the Padres are still looking solid, not great, but not bad either. And IE Sports Radio just turned 10 years old yesterday as I will be going over the top 10 most notable sporting events or sports news that have happened in the Southern California sports world. All that and more here on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. This is Teran Rodriguez bringing you another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And welcome one, welcome all to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Thursday evening, Thursday afternoon, Thursday morning, Thursday wherever you are listening from. Either way, you've made your way to episode 181 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. And without any further delay, let us begin. But first and foremost, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show would not be where it's at without IE Sports Radio providing the platform to go live on Spreaker. Please do follow IE Sports Radio on several different social media platforms such as X, formerly known as Twitter, TikToks for as long as that'll stay up, and on Instagram. And we also have a Facebook page. All you just have to do is type in the word IE, then sports, then radio in the search bar, like us, and then you're able to follow us on Facebook. And we have a website, iesportsradio.com, for all of your latest sports news, our blog, our Hall of Fame, our Fans of the Month, our pages dedicated to each podcast, such as the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, our community forum, and our merchandise shop. For the last 10 years, yes, IE Sports Radio just turned 10 years old yesterday. And for the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content, ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel, to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports seasons around the country. Thank you to everyone for all of your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports forever. And a huge shout out to our two sponsors, Plant Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky and Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. Plant Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, the single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. And Seal the Deal Wax Seals is by Cecilia B., the lovely wife of Larry B., the head honcho of IE Sports Radio. And I will let these ads basically tell them who they are in a much more complexing way and a much more amazing and more broadened way.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
That's right, everybody. Definitely do check out Seal the Deal Wax Seals and Planet Jerky on Instagram and on Facebook, if you still use Facebook. And the way you can follow the SoCal Supreme Sports Show on social media is on X, formerly known as Twitter, at SoCal Show IESR. You can follow me, Teran Rodriguez, on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Teran Rodriguez 1. And without any further delay, let us begin. So, this news just popped up about 27 minutes ago, right before I went live, as Cal Poly has named its new men's basketball coach. Their new men's basketball coach is, can we get a drum roll, please? Mike DeGeorge. So their new head coach. He's actually from San Francisco, the University of San Francisco, which hails from the West Coast Conference. And Cal Poly, in addition to hiring Mike DeGeorge, they actually have dropped their schedule, some of their men's basketball schedule, minus the Big West Conference slate. So Cal Poly men's basketball will be playing Seattle on the 14th at home. And they also play Grambling MTE on November 26th. And then they also host Denver on December 17th. Then on the road, they'll have November 5th again at Seattle, November 7th at Cal, so a nice little 2-game NorCal road trip. Then on November 20th, they have Arizona State, which is probably a tournament because I'm seeing the word MTE. And then St. Mary's is also at St. Mary's for another road matchup right there. Then on November 30th, Cal Poly will play at Stanford. And they also have a road game against Eastern Washington, which has a date to be determined. Then December 14th, they're at San Jose State. And then December 21st, they are at Omaha. And something to note is that the home game against Seattle is actually a home-and-home series. So the return game in Seattle is on the 25th or 26th. So basically, it's going to be one home game, one away game. So very interesting, if you ask me. And honestly, this Mike DeGeorge news just sprang up like not even a whole lot soon. So let's actually find out who Mike DeGeorge is, and is this a great hire for Cal Poly Cal Poly men's basketball? So Mike DeGeorge is indeed a basketball coach. He actually played college basketball at Monmouth University for the Fighting Scots, and he previously coached at Beloit, Lawrence, Grinnell, Eureka, Cornell, and Colorado Mesa. So that's basically the gist of who Mike DeGeorge is. I'm hoping he can continue to work his magic, and because Cal Poly had such an awful year. They didn't even win one conference game in the Big West Conference. Not one, to quote Cat Williams. But his coaching career, like I said, he was an assistant coach at Beloit, an assistant coach at Lawrence, an assistant coach at Grinnell, and then he was the head coach at Eureka, Cornell of Iowa, Rhodes, and Colorado Mesa. His head coaching record overall is 320 and 291, which is pretty good. And he's coached at the NCAA Division III and Division II levels. And in the NCAA Division III tournament, he is 0-2. And then in the NCAA Division II tournament, he is 4-4, which is pretty good. So yeah, he was born in Colorado Springs, and he's actually the son of Coach Ed DeGeorge, and he grew up in Wisconsin, and like I said, he attended Monmouth College in Illinois, where he played 4 years of basketball, and he actually played 2 years of golf, and he also helped the men's basketball team win 2 conference championships with 2 NCAA Division III appearances, and he has a bachelor's degree in psychology, and later received his master's degree from Viterbo in 1999. And he actually spent 2 years as a teacher, first at Marmion Academy, and then he also was a teacher at Durand High School. Both schools were in Illinois, by the way. So that's basically the gist of Mike DeGeorge. I wanted to give you all a clear-cut picture on who Mike DeGeorge was after pulling out this news out of thin air. But yeah, that is your new Cal Poly men's basketball coach, and I think this can be a good hire. We can't really judge it right away. I think Mike DeGeorge can really take Cal Poly at least up. I mean, they can't get any worse in the Big West, because losing all your conference games and basically getting ousted in the conference tournament, yeah. And Larry B pops into the chat room. He says 10 years. Yes, 10 years, as iSports Radio turned 10 years old yesterday, and I will be discussing my top 10 most notable sports news and sporting events in Southern California ever since the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has gone on. But that will be for later on in the show. Right now we've got some football to discuss. Yes, football, not football. That'll be for a little bit later. But for the LA Galaxy, remember how I said they were fit to be tied? I wasn't lying. They have had 3 ties in their past 3 matches. Last Saturday, they tied 2-2 against Real Salt Lake, which is very inconvenient. They actually fell behind 2-0 as Christian Arango scored in the 20th and 40th minute for Real Salt Lake, and suddenly the Galaxy was about ready to lose their second straight match. But then in the 54th minute, after the halftime intermission, Gabriel Peck scored, and suddenly it was just 2-1. And then in extra time, again, everything was looking really bad for the Galaxy, but in 4 minutes in an extra time, Miguel Berry scored the equalizer for the Galaxy, and they managed to salvage a split against Real Salt Lake. Now, I would have liked for the Galaxy to win that one, but since Real Salt Lake is one of the best teams in the conference, if not the best team in the conference, we could live with a tie. I won't judge too much, but it would have been so great to see a win over Real Salt Lake, especially if it's at Dignity Health Sports Park. I was about to say StubHub Center, but I'm a little too wise for that. Now, the Galaxy actually had a match against Minnesota, and this one was a little bit more different. So Minnesota, just like the previous game against Real Salt Lake, they actually got the scoring going as Bankole Hlongwane scored in the 30th minute. If I actually pronounced that correctly, then I am so proud of myself. But Bankole Hlongwane scored in the 30th minute for Minnesota United as they took a 1-0 lead going into halftime. But then in the second half, in the 61st minute, Dejan Hovlahich scored for the Galaxy to tie this one up at 1-1. And then 7 minutes after, Diego Fagundes scored for the Galaxy. And suddenly the Galaxy are up 2-1. And it's looking really good. And it's looking extremely promising for those Galaxy. But in the 80th minute, Kevin Arriga was able to score in the 80th minute to tie the match up at 2-2. The Galaxy just could not get that go-ahead goal, and they settled for another tie. Basically, they were hugging their sister as they salvaged yet another point, which is nice. I think that is an accomplishment, especially since Minnesota, believe it or not, they're actually the second best team in the Western Conference. But, it still would have been great to pick up a win. Now, that match was actually on the road, so I will basically give the LA Galaxy a pass. But still, I would like wins over ties. But tying is better than losing, that's for sure. Ralph Cleese pops into the chat room. He says, "Good evening, Teran, good evening. Happy 10-year anniversary. Have a great show." Thank you, Ralph. And then Patty Bax also pops into the chat room. She says, "It's unusual for me to be home tonight, and I just so happen to see the new time for your show, Teran. Have a great show." Well, thank you, Patty. I'm hoping I don't know if this is going to be a permanent time, but I will say, since everything is starting to slow down for me, SoCal Supreme Sports Show is not going to be going anywhere. And thankfully, this is kind of a blessing in disguise. The NBA, unfortunately, as we all know, they got canceled for this season. So, meaning no 3-day weekends for me that I will have to travel and whatnot. So, at least see some sort of SoCal Supreme Sports Show. But time will tell regarding when the next show will be after this week. So, for the Galaxy, they have a very quick turnaround. So, they had a midweek match, which is a little strange, but it is what it is, as the Galaxy are back in action as they hit the road to Charlotte to take on Charlotte FC. Yes, Charlotte FC, which is actually one of the more better teams in the league. They are actually the 5th best team in the Eastern Conference, and believe it or not, that's actually the Galaxy's spot in the Western Conference. They're the 5th best team in the West. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. But the Galaxy kind of need a win, just because they haven't posted a win since they beat San Jose. But we shall see what happens with the Galaxy. I think they're still doing good, considering they were doing so horrible last year, and they were pretty much near the bottom of the barrel. We could live with this. Now, as for LAFC, if we all remember, last week, they lost to San Jose, which is one of the worst teams in the MLS. They lost on the 4th of May, losing 3-1. But they started off the U.S. Open Cup last Wednesday with a nice 3-1 win over Las Vegas, which is pretty good, as the Las Vegas Lights FC is not part of the MLS, but I digress. This was a U.S. Open Cup match, so it doesn't really count toward the MLS record. But speaking of their most recent MLS matches, last Saturday they took down Vancouver very easily, 3-0, as the scoring got going in the 18th minute as Christian Oliveira scored for LAFC, and then double that time, in the 36th minute, Christian Oliveira scored again for LAFC, and suddenly LAFC was up 2-0, as that eventually wound up being the halftime score. Then in the 57th minute, I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly, Mateusz Bogus scored in the 57th minute to give LAFC a 3-0 lead, and eventually they managed to pretty much keep Vancouver off the scoreboard. Now, Vancouver is one of the more better teams, as Vancouver only had 3 shots on goal. They had 13 shot attempts altogether. They had the same number of corner kicks as LAFC, but Vancouver just could not find the back of the net. LAFC didn't really have to do too much, as they actually had 3 saves, which was the equal number of shots on goal that Vancouver had. So, major props to LAFC for picking up that win. That's actually not a bad win, in my opinion, as Vancouver was one of the more better teams in the MLS before kind of falling and tumbling down a little. Now, just like the Galaxy, LAFC actually had a midweek match, as LAFC hit the road to Stan Kroenke Land, aka St. Louis, as they took down St. Louis City SC 2-0. So, Just like in their previous match with Christian Oliveira, Dennis Bouanga decided to be the head man for LAFC, as the scoring actually did not get going in the first half, as it was 0-0 after the first half. But in the 59th minute, Dennis Bouanga managed to score the first goal for LAFC, as LAFC took a 1-0 lead. They finally broke the ice. Then in extra time, 5 minutes into extra time, LAFC managed to get an insurance goal as Dennis Bouanga scored yet again, as LAFC managed to win 2-0, which was absolutely spectacular. Believe it or not, LAFC only had 3 shots on goal, and 2 of them actually went in. So basically, Dennis Bouanga was doing most of the grunt work. And possession was pretty much dominated by St. Louis, but LAFC managed to find a way to win. And yeah, I will also just say LAFC really did a great job of their saves, as they actually had 7 saves in their match, which is very good. So the fact that LAFC was able to get that win, I thought was pretty darn impressive, if you ask me. I think that LAFC is starting to find their footing after such I wouldn't say a hideous start to the season. They're really starting to pick it up, as they've actually jumped to 3rd in the Western Conference, and I really think that LAFC is bound to, keep up their great gameplay and make another deep playoff run. But we'll see what happens, as basically it's still a long season. We can't really pop open the champagne and celebrate this team just yet. But I will just say, I think LAFC is still looking pretty good, if you ask me. I'm definitely impressed by their win over St. Louis, just because that's not an easy team to beat. And they started Hugo Lloris, and Hugo Lloris actually is a very old goalkeeper. He's 37, and he managed to pick up 7 saves and the win for LAFC, which I think was pretty impressive. So great job to LAFC on that win over St. Louis. So LAFC is back in action, not this weekend, but they're actually back in action on Tuesday when they host Loudoun United FC in the round of 16 of the U.S. Open Cup. And then, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, LAFC will be hitting the road to the Magic City to take on Atlanta United. Atlanta United FC. Next Saturday, which that'll count toward the MLS record. The LAFC match against Loudoun in the U.S. Open Cup match will not count toward LAFC's record and their MLS record and whatnot. So that's basically a mid-season tournament. You know how I feel about mid-season tournaments. I think they're cool and all, but that's not the end game for all end games. The end game for any MLS team is obviously the MLS Cup, which I think is the main goal. Like, if you win the tournament in mid-season, cool, that's awesome. You basically get a bonus, and you basically make history, and you get to raise a banner. But the MLS Cup is what truly, truly matters, and I hope LAFC just does not lose sight of that goal. Well, that's going to do it for the MLS portion of the show, as that's pretty much that for LAFC. I was very impressed by their wins. I think that they're trending in the right direction. They are trending upward as opposed to trending downward. And then the Galaxy, look, I can't get mad at the Galaxy. I don't think their season, it's over for them. The fact that they're still in the top 7, top 8, it's still pretty good. It's just that they gotta find the way to break out the win. They have to break out a win sooner or later, just because they want to keep going into matches with momentum, up and coming matches with momentum, and they don't want to have the case of they can get left on the outside looking in like LAFC did 2 seasons ago, or like they did a while ago. But honestly, I'm still rather impressed by how both teams are doing, and I'm happy for them. All right, but that is enough for the MLS portion of the show. Jumping to some NWSL, because we gotta show them ladies some love. So San Diego Wave FC was back in action on Sunday when they hosted New York/New Jersey Gotham, or New York/New Jersey Gotham FC. The Wave unfortunately could not pull out the win, but they managed to salvage a tie, as the first goal belonged to New York/New Jersey, as Ella Stevens scored in the 25th minute to give New York a 1-0 lead. It was looking pretty doomy and gloomy for San Diego, but San Diego was able to salvage a goal in the 64th minute, courtesy of Hannah Lundqvist. Hannah Lundqvist was able to score for Wave FC, as they were able to salvage a 1-1 tie, which is good. Again, ties are better than losing, but winning is better than tying. And that doesn't really move the needle for San Diego, as they still stay put. Now for Angel City FC, unfortunately, after that win over Utah, it kind of came crashing down on them, as they wound up losing to the Houston... I always get these two teams mixed up. The Houston Dash? Yes, the Houston Dash 1-0 last Sunday, as the scoring did not happen in regulation, as it actually took extra time for this whole thing to be decided, as unfortunately for LAFC, Paige Nielsen was able to score. I want to say Paige Nielsen went to a Southern California school. I actually do want to check on that for a little bit, but Paige Nielsen, there she is. So Paige Nielsen, she's actually a defender. It doesn't say if she went to a Southern California school. God dang it. But I imagine the name sounds so familiar, but Paige Nielsen scored 8 minutes into extra time, and that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And it really sucks, because the Angel City could have salvaged a tie, but unfortunately it just was not meant to be. And it sucks, because I think Angel City could have definitely used a win, because they fell down below San Diego Wave FC into the 8th spot of the NWSL standings. So Angel City is back in action this Saturday when they hit the road to our nation's capital to take on the Washington Spirit. I always get the Washington names. I know it's not DC United. That's the MLS team. But the Washington Spirit, let's preview that one a little bit, as Washington is 6-3. They actually have no draws, believe it or not. The only two teams that are undefeated or that have not lost are Kansas City and Orlando. We don't care about those, though. Then for San Diego Wave FC, they're back in action tomorrow when they hit the road to NorCal to take on Bay FC. Now, Bay FC, like I mentioned, they are an expansion team, and they have lost their past 5 matches, if not maybe their last 6 matches, as, well, I really hope this is the match that Wave FC can actually get their butts back in gear into, as Bay FC's last match or last win came at the hands of Seattle, which was the battle of the expansion teams, where Bay FC wound up winning 3-2. But as for Wave FC, I really would like to see them get the win. I don't like seeing them tie. The Galaxy are really hurting the trend of all these soccer teams from the Southern California area. So you gotta fix that, Galaxy. But for Wave FC, they're in the top 8, but I'd like to see them kind of step it up, especially since the last year that was so saddening for them, losing in the semifinals after I think they had the 1 seed or the 2 seed. God, especially since they had home field advantage. I'm still never gonna forget about that. That's still gonna hurt me through the long haul. That's still going to haunt every San Diegan's nightmares. But that's going to do it for the NWSL portion of the show. We'll discuss a little WNBA action, and then we'll head to a commercial break. So I was unaware of this, but the WNBA season kicked off this week as the Sparks had the honor of hosting the Atlanta Dream. So for those that are wondering, the Sparks are not playing their matches at Crypto.com Arena, aka formerly known as Staples Center. They're actually playing their matches at Long Beach State University at the Walter Pyramid. Yes, the same Walter Pyramid that hosted the NCAA men's volleyball tournament. But the Sparks are playing their matches at Long Beach State, which I think is pretty cool because that's actually my alma mater, fun fact. But unfortunately for the Sparks, their season opener kind of was opened on a sour note as they wound up losing 92-81, which that is just so unfortunate. Kia Nurse led the way for the Sparks with 23 points, which is pretty good. For Cameron Brink, she in her WNBA debut, she had 11 points and 4 assists, and she made 2 threes, which is pretty good. That's actually not too bad for a rookie debut. It just would have been great to see the Sparks pull out the win. In addition, Derica Hammy also had 20 points to go along with 14 boards, and that's pretty good. A double-double right there. And then this player got another double-double as well as Lashia Clarendon added 11 points and 10 boards, and she also had 10 assists. So not a double-double, a triple-double. So that's pretty nice. You know what else would have been nice? Seeing the Sparks win the game. Oh, I hate that. But the Sparks are back in action this Saturday when they hit the road to Sin City to take on the Las Vegas Aces. Tuesday, they're back at home when they host the Washington Mystics. And then next Friday, they're also at home to take on the Indiana Fever. Now, that Washington Mystics matchup is so tempting for me to go just because I'm actually going to be at Long Beach State. And I'm going to be at the Walter Pyramid because I'm going to be attending a Sports Business Expo, which will have teams like the Los Angeles Sparks in attendance, the Angel City FC. I think LAFC is also going to be in attendance. It's basically for those that want to be involved in the sports business. I am so... In addition, if you buy a ticket to this expo, I think tickets are like $30 to $45 depending on when you buy them. In addition, you will get a ticket to the Washington Mystics Los Angeles Sparks game. Now, I really am so tempted to go to that one and maybe live tweet, just because I haven't really gone to any sporting events when it comes to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, and maybe, hence the word maybe, my only problem is getting home. And honestly, if I'm being 100% realistic, I am mainly going to the sports media, or the Sports Business Expo, which I think would definitely be something really cool if you ask me. And this is for those that are interested and for those that are in the Long Beach area. If you're in the Long Beach area, definitely swing by and go to the Los Angeles Sports Business Expo. Will they have media there? I hope that is the case, knock on wood. But regardless, that's for those that are interested and for those that want to be involved in the sports business in terms of LAFC, the LA Sparks, Angel City FC, and much, much more. Alright, but that is going to do it for the WNBA portion of the show, and also a little bit of a quick plug for that whole little business when it comes to the Sports Business Expo, which I think is pretty cool, and the Ontario Reign is also going to be there. Also, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim and the Anaheim Ducks. I guess there's no LAFC, which kind of sucks. Maybe they had that last year at the Crypto.com Arena. But this year I can confirm that it's going to be Anaheim Ducks, Anaheim Angels, or Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Angel City FC, Ontario Reign, and the Los Angeles Sparks. They're going to be hosting. And honestly, I wouldn't mind having a job in that field, but we'll see what happens. Alright, but that's enough of that rambling on and that plugging in. We're going to take ourselves a quick little commercial break. When we come back, we're going to briefly, hence the word briefly, go over the Los Angeles Chargers and Rams schedule. We'll also go over some MLB action with the Padres, Dodgers, and Angels. And then we also have the Dum Dum of the Week, which was unfortunately not planned, but is now planned. And we have the top 10 sporting events that have gone on ever since the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has been a thing. Keep it locked here. You are listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IA Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From where we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey there, sports fans. Are you looking for a sports show that maybe isn't 100% about sports?
Then you might want to check out the Sports Couple Perspectives right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Most sports shows cover only scores and stats, and while we're not opposed to that, we dig a little deeper into sports issues and some of the hottest topics in athletics.
In addition to sports, we take a journey through my neck of the woods, pop culture, with movie reviews of both sports and non-sports films.
Speaking of pop culture, make sure to participate in our game nights, where we quiz each other on our specialties, and you, the listeners, can win IE Sports Radio apparel.
We always have a great time learning more about each other's worlds, one show at a time.
So join us each week on the Sports Couple Perspectives, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Back with segment number 2 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Definitely do check out all of our amazing shows, such as Let's Whine About DMV Sports, the Sports Couple Perspective, Heart of Texas Sports, and Big Cheese Sports. Without any further delay, let us get on into our next segment, as we will we'll get into a majority of the Chargers and Rams schedule next week. But I do want to talk about the Chargers schedule for this week. I actually, shame on me, I have not seen the Chargers hype video for their schedule release. I'm so sad, but just to go over it quickly, week 1, they will be home against Raiders. And then week 2, they are on the road against the Carolina Panthers. Week 3, they are on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Week 4, they are at home against Kansas City. Week 5, they have a bye, which is something I hate. Week 6, they are on the road against the Denver Broncos. Week 7, they finally get their first primetime game as they hit the road to Arizona to take on the Arizona Cardinals. Week 8, they are home against the New Orleans Saints. Week 9, they're on the road against the Cleveland Browns. Week 10, they are home against the Tennessee Titans. Week 11, they're home against the Cincinnati Bengals. Week 12, they are home on Monday Night Football against the Baltimore Ravens. Week 13, they are on the road against the Atlanta Falcons. Week 14, they are on the road on Sunday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs. Week 15, they're home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Week 16, they're home against the Denver Broncos. Week 17, they are on the road against the New England Patriots. Ugh. And then week 18, they are they're on the road against Raiders. I have to do it in the Chris Berman voice. I cannot not do it in the Chris Berman voice. Anyway, but that is that for the Chargers schedule. I'll go into a deeper dive for next week. But now we go to the Rams schedule. So the Rams, they have released their schedule as well, and I actually want to get their schedule correct because I actually do want to make note of some of their primetime games, just because it would not be of my Excalibur to basically leave out their primetime games. I guess I should also mention that the Chargers and Rams are also facing each other in preseason on August 17th at SoFi Stadium, but for the Rams, they actually kick off the season against the Detroit Lions. And what a way to kick off the season, against the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football, mind you. That is so big right there. Like, the schedule designers were really not pulling any punches. They were legit not pulling any punches in regards to the Rams getting that primetime slot. And it's against the Detroit Lions. It's against Jared Goff, who got paid the big bucks. This is going to be in Detroit, so Matthew Stafford is probably going to get a better reception from the Detroit fans. Obviously, the Detroit Lions fans, when the Rams played the Lions, they gave him a negative reception, but for good reason. And then on September 15th, or in Week 2, the Rams hit the road to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Week 3, they are home against the San Francisco 49ers. Week 4, they are on the road against the Chicago Bears. Week 5, they are home, they're home against the Green Bay Packers. Oh, thank God. If I see one more Rams-Packers game in Lambeau Field, I'm going to scream. Finally, the Packers get to come to LA, where it's not like freaking 0 degrees and whatnot. I'm sorry, but it's just very frustrating to have to deal with that. Anyway, but from a Rams fan perspective. But then week 6, the Rams will have their bye, which I think is really weird. Like, why did they give the LA teams the bye early on? Anyway, so after the bye, the Rams will host Raiders in Week 7. Then in Week 8, the Rams will host the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday Night Football. Oh, God. I'm glad the Chargers don't have any Thursday Night Football games. I don't think they had any last year, if I recall. Oh, no, they did. They had the dreaded Raiders game. Anyway, and then in Week 9, the Rams are on the road against the Seahawks. Week 10, the Rams are home against the Miami Dolphins. That's a Monday Night Football game, and that's going to be a darn good one. Then in Week 11, the Rams are on the road against New England. Week 12, the Rams are home against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's actually going to be a Sunday Night Football game. That's actually going to be a pretty darn good one, if you ask me. Then in Week 13, the Rams are on the road against the Saints. Oh gosh, I could already hear the boos raining down on the Rams, especially after the 2018 NFC championship game. I think that's Saints fans are still never going to get over that. Anyway, then in week 14, the Rams will play the Buffalo Bills at home. Now, I am very surprised this is not a primetime game, but it is what it is. And that's also going to be a pretty good game. I know the last time the Rams and Bills played one another, the Rams straight up got whomped, which was the worst debut a Super Bowl champion has had following their Super Bowl run, or for their Super Bowl win last season. And then in week 15, the Rams will hit the road to Santa Clara to take on the San Francisco 49ers on Thursday Night Football, which is actually their last primetime game. So the Rams have a whopping 5 primetime games, which is pretty good if you ask me. I can't really say the same for the Chargers, which only had 4, but I digress. And then in week 16, the Rams hit the road to New York/New Jersey, MetLife Field, to take on the New York Jets. Then on December 28th or 29th, the Rams will come home, host the Arizona Cardinals, and then to close off the regular season, the Rams will host the Seattle Seahawks on January 4th or January 5th. Now, the 4th and 5th and 28th and 29th dates are probably because the NFL is probably going to be live on primetime, but that's my guess. Regardless, we're not going to do a deep dive into that, and I'm actually going to save my predictions for the Rams and Chargers for next week. Right now, that's going to do it for the entirety of the Patty is pretty witty in the chat. She says I loved the win by the Bills. Yes, I know. That was a stomping though. That was not good. All right, but that is going to do it for the Rams and Chargers portion of the show. So let's go on to a little MLB action. Again, I'll save my predictions for if the Rams and Chargers will win certain games next year. But if you see my quote tweets, you will basically see the picture I painted for those two teams. But as for the Dodgers, Angels, and Padres, the Angels and Padres are off tonight, but the Dodgers are actually back in action when they host the Cincinnati Reds tonight at 7:10 p.m., which is actually not too far away. That's actually 22 minutes away. But most recently, last weekend they took on the San Diego Padres in a 3-game series, and they lost 2 out of 3. They lost last Friday 2-1, and then last Saturday they shut them out 5-0. Was there a no-hitter pitched? No. Funny that the Dodgers wound up winning that because they had fewer hits than the Padres. And then on Sunday, in the rubber match, the Padres shut out the Dodgers 4-0 as the Padres held the Dodgers to 0 hit. Or to not to 0 hits, to 4 hits. Then on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this past week, the Dodgers took 2 out of 3 against those pesky Giants. It's kind of sad to see the Giants actually fall so far down after they were such a juggernaut. Like, they used to have such filled crowds, but honestly, it's kind of a little sad if you ask me. But the Dodgers wound up winning the first game in 10 innings on Monday, 6-4. They won the second game on Tuesday, 10-2. And then on Wednesday, they lost the final game of the series, losing that one 4-1. So like I said, the Dodgers have a 4-game series against the Cincinnati Reds. Then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the Dodgers host the Arizona Diamondbacks in a nice little NL West series. Diamondbacks fans are probably going to be licking their lips when they see that. You know why. And then next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Dodgers hit the road to Cincy to take on the Cincinnati Reds. So currently right now for the Dodgers, they're still ahead of the NL West. They're the only team above 500 as they have a 7.5 game lead over those Diamondbacks and Padres, which perfect segue to go into the Padres. So last weekend, as I mentioned, the Dodgers took 2 out of 3, or the Padres took 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, which is very good. And then this was very sad. The Padres got swept swept by the Colorado Rockies. Absolutely disgusting. Monday they lost 5-4, which I actually am interested to see. Though they were basically played from behind, so this was basically a losing battle on their part. Then on Tuesday, the Rockies beat the Padres 6-3, and then Wednesday, the Padres got swept by the Rockies 8-0, which is very sad. They were held to only 4 hits, and that's not cool, dude. And if I'm being honest, the Rockies are one of the worst teams in the league, probably second to the Chicago White Sox, and then there's also the Anaheim Angels, but I digress. But for the Padres, that's bad, dude. It's good that their day off comes right now, because they actually have a 3-game series against the Atlanta Braves on the road on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They actually play on Fox on Saturday, and they play on Sunday Night Baseball on Sunday. And they also have a Monday game, which is one of those weird 4-game series. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the Padres hit the road to Cincinnati to take on those Reds. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Padres host the New York Yankees, which, oh boy, that's going to be a fun match. Maybe not so much for the Padres, maybe for Yankee fans. And then for the Angels, I really am frustrated with the Angels. I mean, I get they were supposed to be bad, but this is kind of beyond bad. So Thursday, like I mentioned, they lost to the Kansas City Royals 10-4. I did this show last Thursday, if I recall, if not maybe last Friday. And then last Friday, they lost to the Kansas City Royals 2-1. Last Saturday, they took down the Royals 9-3, which was good. And then last Sunday, they could not salvage a tie in the series as the Royals lost to the Angels 4-2. Then on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the Angels dropped 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals. Monday, they lost to the Cardinals 10-5 at home. And then this one really irked me. So the Angels thought it was a great idea to lose on Tuesday when April Ross, who is a beach volleyball player, and she actually is a gold medalist with Alex Kleinman, she threw out the first pitch. But unfortunately, the Angels thought it was a great idea to lose 7-6 in Angels fashion. It's just unbelievable, dude. How dare you lose to when April Ross threw out the first pitch? And fun fact, April Ross actually went to my high school, Newport Harbor. Anyway, so the Angels did manage to salvage one win in the series as they beat the Cardinals on Wednesday 7-2. So the Angels have today off, which could not have come at a better time because Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Angels head down to Arlington to take on the Texas Rangers. And then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, they will stay in Texas, but they'll head down to the I-45? The I-45 to take on the Houston Astros on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Then they have next Thursday off, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Angels will return home to take on the Cleveland Guardians. Looking at the Angels, they are absolutely terrible. They are the third worst team in the league, ahead of the Rockies and the White Sox. This is absolutely bad. And I gotta tell you all this quote as do I intertwine this with Dumb of the Week? Nah. So Ron Washington thought it was very smart of him to say this, and I actually do need to tell you all this quote. And I quote, I'm trying to pull this quote up from Michael Huntley, who is a good buddy of mine, and he actually covers the Angels part-time when he's not covering high school sports. But Ron Washington said this about the Angels season. You guys just don't see the itty-bitty increments in the growth these guys are having. I want to see us win more ball games, but you have to learn to do that. This group, they are learning how to win. That's me flopping down after seeing that quote. I'm so disgusted by that. It's like, honestly, learning how to win, I'll give him that much, but it looks like you guys are learning how to lose because you're straight up losing everything with bad pitching, bad batting, bad everything. So, I knew this was going to be a rough season for the Angels, but holy crap, dude. Like, your expectations are so disgusting. Like, that is such a not-so-good quote, in my opinion. I'm sorry, but it's not. I'll give Ron Washington the benefit of the doubt. He's not going to be dumb of the week for that. At least he thought of something. I just don't think that it was really the best thing to basically say. It's just tough times in terms of being an Angels fan. It's just pretty bad, if you ask me. It's not fun times. But it is what it is, and we have to learn to deal with it in terms of being an Angels fan. I don't like it, but it's just the way it's supposed to be. So, hopefully for the sake of the Angels, they can only go up from here on out unless they become worse than the White Sox and the Rockies. Like, golly, that's bad, dude. So I'm not going to even talk about the Angels anymore on the remainder of the show. But that's going to do it for the Angels. They're dead last in the AL West. I should mention that right now. They're so bad that the Houston Astros are actually starting to become better, and that says a lot about the Angels. So anyway, that's going to do it for the Angels portion of the show. So I wasn't going to really have Dumb of the Week, honestly, just because, well, I was going to make the show all about a little bit of positivity, but unfortunately, I have to do it, because this came up on my feed when I woke up, so, oh man, when it comes to women's sports, everyone likes watching women's sports. Apparently, this dimwit on X, formerly known as Twitter, decided to be so stupid that he eventually got chastised. Well, not chastised, but he eventually got called out by the WNBA admin. So, this dude, @CDonaldson83, he said, "Can we get some dang starting lineups? No wonder this league is a joke." First of all, shut your damn mouth. Excuse my French, and I guess I should say it now. Can we get some damn starting lineups? No wonder this league is such a joke. First of all, shut your mouth, dude. I can't believe you are actually saying that. And second of all, the league is not a joke. You're just stupid, that's why. Apparently this dude is some better, and the WNBA actually responded, which I will give major kudos to them for doing that. They said, relax. And I actually commend whoever is the admin for the WNBA to basically respond to that. And then this dude, DFS Addict, aka @CDonaldson83, the same guy who I'm talking about, he says, "It's 30 minutes until tip-off, and we don't know who's starting." First of all, why is that the WNBA's problem? Go follow the Dallas Wings, the Dallas Wings, and whoever they were playing. Honestly, and then the dude didn't even say thank you. He said, "Bout damn time. Finally got them 7 minutes before tip-off." First of all, who gives a crap on basically what you're betting and whatnot? Like, first, this is why X, if not X, formerly known as Twitter, is not real life. Because dudes like this dude are freaking, the word I always like to use, he's an ass clown. And the fact that he's calling the WNBA a joke makes him a bigger ass clown. So, to you, @CDonaldson83, you are just a clown. A stupid clown. You're not even an ass clown. You're just a clown. A clown with a stupid getup, with your stupid clown attitude, and your stupid clown. You barely even have 200 followers, dude. You don't even have 200 followers. So, what the heck are you so worried about in terms of getting your bets in and whatnot? So, to you, @CDonaldson83 on X, formerly known as Twitter, you're dumb of the week. And if I had the cojones to basically respond, I would basically say, who cares about your bets, dude? Because no one gives a crap about your bets. Gamble responsibly!
So dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
I swear, dude, I can't stand these people on X, formerly known as Twitter. It's like, you don't have nothing better to do with your life. And I'm so glad the admin replied and with the quote tweet from the Dallas Stars starting five saying, "Here, damn." First of all, big W award to whoever runs the WNBA account. Whoever the admin is running the WNBA account, salute to you. You deserve to be saluted, and that is awesome. I'm glad you stood up to that clown, and to UC Donaldson, you're dumb. You're dumb! And never ever basically trifle with the WNBA X account ever again. Alright, but that's pretty much that for Dum Dum of the Week. I wasn't going to have it this week. I actually was thinking of another Dum Dum of the Week, but I think that might have been the Ron Washington one. But anyway, we're here to spread positivity this week because IE Sports Radio actually turned 10 years old yesterday. So happy birthday to IE Sports Radio. And I always love telling the story of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Look, I may not care ultimately that much about it like I do with Set Point, but I still love doing the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I love giving out Dum Dums of the Week. I like talking about the Lakers when they underachieve. I like talking about the Chargers when they blow leads or they charger. I love talking about the Rams. I also love having my brother on when it comes to this show, and that's the thing I love about doing the SoCal Supreme Sports Show the most. I love having my brother Justin on, like I did last week, when we either talk or when we talk NBA or MLB or the Chargers or Rams. Well, mainly the Rams, because he's a Rams fan. I'm the Chargers fan. But I love doing the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I know it can be difficult for me to basically be on point, but that's because I have a lot of other things on my dish. But that being said, I'm going to do SoCal for as long as I possibly can. And who knows, maybe I can get it to Set Point status where I can get it to pretty much near 300 episodes. But for right now, I'm going to keep doing SoCal Supreme Sports Show as long as I can. And hopefully I will get my brother on more often than not. Just because my brother is... I definitely do love having him on. And he actually was giddy when I first found out I was going to do SoCal Supreme Sports Show. As I actually have the tweet when I consulted with Larry about that. Larry actually approached me saying, do you want to be our SoCal host? It's like, sure, dude. So... and fun fact about me, I actually started off as the host for Bases Loaded, our former baseball show, but that unfortunately fell through and whatnot. So yeah, and eventually, I got to be host of Set Point, and then eventually I got to be the host of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. And June 16th, 2020, which, ironically enough, that was actually the same day, well, that was my 1-year anniversary of when I joined IE Sports Radio, but June 16th, 2020, Larry B says, Mr. Teran, when would you like to start the SoCal Supreme Sports Show? And then I actually did not give him a straight answer. I actually said, not for a while, and I said... maybe the inaugural episode will be on Wednesday, July 8th, and I was still working at the grocery store at that time, but honestly, that was basically when the SoCal Supreme Sports Show happened, and I could not be more happy to continue to do SoCal. And like I said, with everything slowing down for me in terms of like coverage of sports and not a whole lot of local volleyball, I will be able to do SoCal a little bit more fluidly. So, Patty Vax loved my impersonation of Larry B. Good morning, college football fans, and welcome to 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm glad you liked that impersonation of Larry, Patty, so thank you, Patty. But overall, it's just been an amazing... it's been an amazing time with IE Sports Radio, and we're coming up 4 years when it comes to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, as July 6th will be a Saturday, and probably I'll have the SoCal Supreme Sports Show on that day, just because, well, why not celebrate a 4-year anniversary? But anyway, just to make a long story short with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, I definitely do love doing it, even though I don't love it even though Set Point is kind of my true baby, that my more thing that has given me more fame and fortune, I still love doing the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, and honestly, I hope to continue to do SoCal as long as I can. Alright, but with that being said, We have in honor of iSports Radio turning 10 years old, we have the top 10 notable sporting events that have happened ever since I've been the host of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. So we'll start things off at number 10, and this was actually just recent news. So this recent news was UCLA women's water polo winning the national championship, but it was more than just winning the national championship. It wasn't just because they beat Cal in the final. It wasn't because they were named national champions. They actually finished the season 26-0. They won their 8th NCAA women's water polo title and their 12th national championship, which I'm guessing that was before the NCAA took over for a women's water polo and whatnot. In addition, it's actually only the 5th time that a women's water polo team in NCAA women's water polo has won the national championship going undefeated, which I thought that was pretty incredible. That was what really took the cake right there. So UCLA women's water polo made a lot of history last weekend, and for that they are number 10 on my notable sports events that have happened ever since I've been the host of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Number 9, we have USC Beach Volleyball 4-peats. Now, I did not think that USC was going to repeat, or 3-peat at the very least. I thought 3-peating was going to be very difficult just because they had the tall task of taking on TCU, which was having their best season in forever, and then they also had to take on UCLA. But once they got past TCU, and they kind of got past LMU, which also was kind of a contender, that's when I knew that USC definitely had a shot at 3-peating. This was last year, by the way. This year was a little bit more difficult as they had some ups and downs. They had wins and losses to UCLA. They actually split their regular season series against UCLA 3-3 up until the national championship game. They had a loss to LSU. They also lost to Stanford for the first time in its program's history, but they were able to rise above it, win the Pac-12 tournament championship after they got reverse swept in the first meeting against UCLA in the Pac-12 tournament semifinals, and they eventually 4-peated as all of the matches that were played in the championship duel actually went 3 sets. But eventually USC was able to win before the duel was decided, before UCLA was able to win a match. And they never even dropped a match in the NCAA tournament. Now, albeit that some of the finishes were rather early, but it's still really impressive that every result from this year's tournament from USC on who they played was basically 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. They beat North Florida, they beat LMU again, they beat Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and they beat UCLA in the final. So USC Beach Volleyball 4-peating is definitely amongst the top in terms of the top 10 notable sporting events in Southern California that have happened ever since I've been the host of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Number 8 goes to modern-day high school football coach Bruce Rollinson stepping down as head coach. Bruce Rollinson obviously has had himself in a very long football journey as the head coach. Obviously, his name has been thrown in the mud, but he's been lauded as an amazing coach and an amazing mentor for all the players that have played for him, such as Bryce Young and whatnot. But he eventually announced that he was stepping down in 2022, because 2023 was the first year without Bruce Rollinson. So 2022, midway through league, he announced that he was stepping down as head coach, and that was just a big bombshell. So I will just say that was what really caught me and Larry B off guard. And it's sad because Mater Dei actually lost in the championship game, the CIF Southern Section Division I championship game, to St. John Bosco, which obviously was a tough way for them to go out, but at the very least they got their redemption in the following year with Frank McManus, who eventually wound up stepping down as well, or he got dismissed. Whatever you want to call it. You can call a spade a spade. But regardless, Mater Dei football coach Bruce Rollinson stepping down as head coach was another big notable sporting event that happened in the Southern California sports world ever since I've been the host of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Number 7, we have USC football hiring Lincoln Riley. So USC football has been through quite the journey. with Clay Helton and whatnot, and how they pretty much had a lot of mediocrity and they were just basically underachieving. That was until that one off season, I want to say it was like 2021, where they finally got the news that Clay Helton had been canned, and eventually they were able to hire Lincoln Riley. They saw Lincoln Riley step down from Oklahoma, and then eventually he said, I'm going to SC. Now, Lincoln Riley did eventually say that he would have liked to have done the whole move differently had Lincoln Riley, if he were able to do it over again. But honestly, Lincoln Riley coming to USC was kind of a godsend. I don't like using that word too much, but he kind of helped revitalize USC football a little bit. And he also brought Caleb Williams around, even though Caleb Williams eventually wound up belly flopping, and now he's the quarterback for the Chicago Bears, so at least Lincoln Riley is still with USC. So now it's Miller time, for aka Miller Moss time. So we'll see what happens with USC football. Hopefully they can keep Lincoln Riley for a long, long time. I can't imagine another coach coming here unless they can get, like, I don't know, Bill Belichick, but no, we are not getting Bill Belichick at USC football. No. All right, number 6, UCLA men's basketball makes the Final Four in 2021. So UCLA men's basketball, they had such a really bad run in the Pac-12 tournament in the post-COVID year. They actually managed to make the NCAA tournament, but they were the last 4 in, and they had to play a play-in game. So they won the play-in game, they won the round of 64 match, they won the round of 32 match, they won the round of 16 match, and they wound up winning their Elite 8 match. I should have mentioned Sweet 16 match, but you know what I mean. But they wound up beating Michigan in the Sweet 16, and they moved on to the semifinals where they would take on Gonzaga. And eventually, they had to go overtime with Gonzaga, which was such a great match. It was such an instant classic between UCLA and Gonzaga. I didn't think Gonzaga had it in them, I didn't think UCLA had it in them, considering they were playing an undefeated Gonzaga team who was trying to win a national championship for the first time in team history. But UCLA was basically giving them all that they could handle. And unfortunately for UCLA, they tied it up late in overtime, and then Gonzaga managed to hit a half-court buzzer beater to win the game over UCLA. I was just perplexed at that. I was like, no, why? Why do you hate us, God? I'm kidding, but that was so heartbreaking if you were a UCLA fan. I'm not even a UCLA fan, but everyone acknowledged and felt the pain that UCLA men's basketball had endured. Everyone was a UCLA men's basketball fan, including the USC men's basketball admin. He even said, we would like to laugh and joke about UCLA losing, but that was such an amazing game. So instead of joking, we will say kudos to you, UCLA men's basketball, on an amazing season. And that was such a fantastic season. They went from last 4 in, which eventually saw them playing in the play-in game, to almost advancing to the national championship. Gonzaga got what was coming to them as they wound up getting crushed by Baylor. I'm sorry, but I gotta laugh at Gonzaga. Y'all thought you were invincible having beaten UCLA, but after that overtime win where they needed a half-court heave, you weren't that invincible, now were you? Anyway, but that's going to do it for number 6. Number 5, this one, now we're going to get into the real juicy stuff. The Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff trade. This was such a bombshell, and I think this was like 1 or 2 weeks after I bought a Jared Goff jersey from when he was in the Super Bowl. It was actually a Super Bowl laminated jersey, but then I saw the Jared Goff news that he's going to Detroit, and I'm like, no. I bought this Jared Goff jersey for nothing. I was just so defeated. I was like, no. I gotta buy me a Matthew Stafford jersey now. But I was just so... I'm happy for Jared Goff. I'm glad he's doing it big with the Lions. I'm glad he got paid so much big bucks. Like, the dude is going to be literally balling, and hopefully he does take the Lions to the promised land. I think that would be such a great storyline for him and whatnot. But The Matthew Stafford trade, in addition to Jared Goff getting traded, the Rams also traded their first-round pick. So they basically shipped off first-round picks to the Detroit Lions, and eventually, we all know the rest. Then we jump to number 4. LAFC winning their first MLS Cup back in 2022. So I was on a cruise when I was seeing this match, but I did see LAFC and the Philadelphia Union do battle with one another, and this was such an instant thriller. Like, regulation was not enough for the Philadelphia Union and LAFC. LAFC needed overtime, and I think they needed double and triple overtime. And it even got to the point where in triple overtime, where LAFC's goalie got hurt, and then they needed to rely on their backup goalie for triple overtime and for penalty kicks. And eventually, the LAFC did wind up winning in penalty kicks. I feel bad for the Philadelphia Union because there were some questionable calls, but honestly, LAFC had been long yearning for a championship. They were kind of the Peyton Manning of the MLS. They have such great regular seasons, but they wind up choking when it truly matters. But LFC exorcised those demons, and they wound up winning the MLS Cup back in 2022. That was so awesome, seeing the LAFC finally breaking through. Albeit I'm a Galaxy fan, but I have to feel a little happy for LAFC. Then at number 3, we have the Dodgers winning the World Series in 2020. It's been a long time since the Dodgers had won a World Series pennant. I think it was 1992 when their last pennant came before that. But I know it was a shortened season. I know everyone's going to say it has an asterisk by it. You know what I say? I don't give a flying heck. Why? Because it's a World Series. And if you're going to put an asterisk on that, you're going to put an asterisk on some of the other shortened seasons. I don't care what you say. The Dodgers were World Series champions, and we are going to live by it. You want to hate, go hate somewhere else, just because it is a championship, and nobody can take it away from the Dodgers. Unlike the Astros championship, where that should have been taken away, but I digress. Anyway, but that's number 3. Number 2, staying in 2020, is the Lakers winning the championship in the bubble. So this was back when I had my brother on, and this was still in the pandemic days. And at that moment, I really wanted the Lakers to win the Larry O'Brien Trophy for Kobe, who passed away earlier in the year. And I'm so happy they did. I was more happy that the Lakers wound up winning it all for Kobe as opposed to winning the Larry O'Brien Trophy, which basically ties them for most NBA championships with the Celtics. Yeah, I will say it loud and proud. And again, I don't care if it was in the bubble. Michael Malone said it best. That has no asterisk to it because there's no home court advantage. You're away from your families, you're away from your friends, you're away from reality. You basically are playing in a remote area, so there is no asterisk when it comes to that. And I had so much respect for Michael Malone after that quote, and I still have a little respect for him. I just wish that the Denver Nuggets would stop beating the Lakers in the playoffs, and in general. But the Lakers winning the championship in 2020 was also fun. It was also the same year the Clippers blew another 3-1 lead, losing to the Denver Nuggets. The Clippers robbed us of a Lakers-Clippers Western Conference final. I am so mad at that. The Clippers will never be forgiven. Anyway, that's that for number 2. And then number 1... of the top 10 notable sporting events that have happened ever since I've been the host of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show is none other than the LA Rams winning the Super Bowl. In SoFi Stadium, mind you. Now, I thought the Rams were going to be good. I didn't think they would be eye-popping. I didn't think they would win. I didn't have them in the Super Bowl. I just think they'd be a dark horse to basically win it all. And the fact that they stomped on the Cardinals, they outlasted the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even though, God, they tried to give that one away after they were up 27-3. And they took down the Niners in SoFi Stadium, and they finally beat the Niners. Yes, I will finally say it. The Rams beat the Niners, even though they just beat them in the regular season last year. The Rams took down the Niners just because Jimmy Garoppolo could not get out of his own way, and the Niners had the San Diego curse. Sorry. The Rams eventually made it to the Super Bowl where they took on the Cincinnati Bengals. So it was 5 seed versus 5 seed. Oh no, I'm sorry, 4 seed versus 4 seed. It was 4 seed versus 4 seed, and some had the Bengals winning, some had the Rams winning. In the end, the Rams eventually pulled out the win, and it was such a phenomenal win. I was like, I can't believe it. The Rams actually pulled out the win. I know there were some questionable calls, but most of those questionable calls were also against the Rams too. So if you're going to say there were some questionable calls against the Bengals, you got to call it both ways. And this one had no asterisk by it, as the Rams wound up winning their first Super Bowl in the Los Angeles era, and their first one since, I think, 1999, if not 2000, back when they were the St. Louis Rams. Regardless, they wound up winning a Super Bowl, and it was very fun, very exciting. I was more happy for my brother. My brother was so over the moon about that. Yes, the Rams had a Super Bowl hangover, but I don't care. Trading Jared Goff and saying goodbye to those first-round picks was very much worth it, because the Rams got a ring out of it, and the Lions are having success right now. Everyone won the Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford trade, and hopefully Matthew Stafford has another chance to lead the Rams to the Super Bowl one last time, because remember, it's the same pattern ever since they've ever since they moved back to LA. Miss the playoffs, make the Super Bowl, and then so on and so forth. It's basically a 3-year cycle. Rams miss the playoffs, Rams make the playoffs, and then the Rams make the Super Bowl, and then so on and so forth. So this year is the 9-year cycle ever since the Rams moved back to LA and brought the Chargers along with them. And basically this is year 9, so hopefully for the sake of the Rams, knock on wood, the Rams could bring home another Super Bowl. I think it's going to be very exciting. And that's pretty much my top 10 notable sporting events that have happened ever since I've become the host of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. And I guess I should also mention that an honorable mention was finding out that the Super Bowl is coming back to SoFi Stadium in 2028. So you have that as well. And I guess another notable SoCal sporting event that happened was the Clippers making it to their first ever Western Conference final, but they wound up losing to the Phoenix Suns, which eventually wound up losing to the eventual champion, the Milwaukee Bucks. But that's honorable mention. But on that note, that is going to do it for this week's episode of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for me to get on out of here, because I gotta get me some dinner, and it's almost time for Law and Order. Yeah, dig. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. If you listen live, I appreciate you. If you listen on the playback, I appreciate you. If you listen at work, I appreciate you. If you listen at any time, any place, anywhere, I appreciate you. Shout out to the chat room, Larry B., the founder of IE Sports Radio. I really do appreciate all the work that you have put in. Patty Bax as well as Ralph Calise. I really do appreciate y'all tuning in. I will for sure be back live next week with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Also, if you're going to be in the Huntington Beach area tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, I'll be there. I'll be at the AVP's Huntington Beach Open, which is definitely going to be fun times. Definitely do say hi to me. I'll probably be wearing pants, even though it's going to be at a beach, and basically it's going to be... I should be wearing flip-flops instead, but I digress. For everyone here at IE Sports Radio, this is Teran Rodriguez signing off. Have yourself a great rest of the week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the SoCal sports action. Hopefully it doesn't get hot here in Southern California too much. Otherwise, you're going to need to apply that sunscreen. I will see you all this weekend at the Huntington Beach Open. And I will see you all on Monday for Set Point. Have a great weekend, everybody. And remember, SoCal is for SoCal. Peace!